In the last lecture, we saw the four ways in which contracts come to an end, and we focused on breach of contract. And we saw the distinction between repudiatory breach, which is to say, breach which is fundamental in nature, breach of an important term of the contract, without which the innocent party may well say that he got nothing out of the contract. So, that on the one hand, and we also saw that breach could be of a minor nature. That is to say, breach of a term which was there in the contract but was not important enough for us to classify the breach as a repudiatory breach. If the breach was of a minor nature, then we saw that the innocent party does not have the right to terminate the contract. The contract will continue. There is a breach, you might get compensation for it, but the contract will continue. You have no right to terminate the contract if the breach is of a minor nature. That right to terminate the contract only comes in if the breach was a fundamental breach or a repudiatory breach. This is what we saw in the last lecture. The subject of this lecture is a breach which is slightly different from normal breach of contract. This is when a party communicates to the other party to a contract that whenever the time for performance will come, he will not perform. This is different from ordinary breach because ordinary breach, if you recall, was when a party failed or refused to perform when the time for performance came. So if the time for performance was today and you do not perform, that's the normal breach. But what if much before the time for performance? Time for performance perhaps was 20 days away, and you come to me today and you tell me that even when the time for performance comes, you will not perform. Is that also a breach? If you look at the normal definition of breach, then this is not really breach because 20 days are still left. You might change your mind. You might decide to perform after all. We just have to sit back and wait. Or you may not do it. But the point is, that time has not come yet. So we cannot say today whether you will perform or not. Anything can happen in these 20 days. So by traditional definition of breach, you haven't breached the contract given that there are still 20 days left in the time for performance. But are we to just ignore what you just said to me? 20 days before the time, you are telling me that you will not perform. Are we to just ignore it today? The law doesn't just ignore it. The law considers this also to be a breach, albeit a different type of a breach. The name that the law gives to this type of a breach, which happens in advance, which happens before the time for performance has even come, the law treats such a breach, calls such a breach as anticipatory breach, a breach in anticipation, a breach in advance. And the point to remember about anticipatory breach is what are my rights in such a case. So you have come 20 days before the time, you have told me that you wouldn't perform. What am I to do? Must I wait for 20 days to see whether you would perform or not? Or can I do something today? Law leaves that option to me. So when you commit an anticipatory breach, when you commit a breach in advance, law gives me a choice. The choice essentially is for me to either wait for 20 days and see whether you perform or not. If I elect to do that, I'm perfectly entitled to it. So I can ignore what you said, as if you said nothing. I can just ignore it and wait for 20 days to see what do you do when the time for performance comes. If you don't perform even on the 20th day, I can take you to the court. Alternatively, I might decide that this is it. You have told me, even today, you have told me that you're not going to perform. There's no point for me to wait for the next 20 days. I might as well end the contract today and maybe find for some replacement option for me to get the benefit of the contract that you were supposed to give to me. I have that choice also. So when anticipatory breach happens, the innocent party, which was me in this case, gets a choice. I can either ignore your anticipatory breach and allow the contract to continue the way it was supposed to continue and then see what happens when the time for performance comes, or I can take what you say seriously and I can bring the contract to an end today. If I bring the contract to an end today, that's it. Our respective obligations come to an end. We are no more responsible under the contract. Only to the extent of the breach, I will have remedies against you, but otherwise the contract will have been brought to an end. What are the factors that I should keep in mind when I'm making this decision, whether or not to wait for 20 days? As I said, that's my right. I can wait for 20 days. But the factors I need to keep in mind are that would I get more benefit by treating your anticipatory breach as a sufficient cause for termination of the contract today? Or will I be benefited more if I were to wait for 20 days? If I terminate the contract today, then I can go to the court, I can claim remedies against you, compensation, etc. But as far as the remaining 20 days were concerned, I wouldn't be able to benefit from them. For example, if I was hoping that I could convince you to change your mind, for example, if I was hoping that what you could do for me, nobody else could, and I might not find a replacement, then it would probably be a good idea for me to continue with the contract, try and convince you to change your mind, try and find ways whereby I could still get you to perform on the stipulated date. That's what I would be hoping to do. So if I really wanted the benefit of the contract which you were offering, I would try and wait. But if I feel that I have replacements available, or if I feel there's no prospect for you to change your mind, or if I feel that sometimes I might even consider that this is actually a good thing that you have communicated to me, because perhaps I was myself looking for ways to get out of the contract. But I was afraid that if I were to do that, I would be in breach. And when I heard you communicating your anticipatory breach to me, that perhaps was a godsend opportunity for me. It was perhaps that opportunity that I wanted to get out of the contract. I would just take it then. So essentially, there are these factors that I need to keep in mind when I hear anticipatory breach from you. And depending on what my view of those factors is, I can then decide whether or not to continue or to terminate the contract immediately. There are a couple of cases on the subject in England. For example, in McGregor and White and Carter Council, there was a contract between a person called McGregor, and there was that person had basically agreed to perform that contract with a council. The contract essentially was to advertise on rubbish bins that the council maintained. McGregor was a businessman. He wanted cheap marketing for his business, and the manner in which he planned to do it was for the council to advertise his business on the trash cans that they were maintaining. The parties had a contract. Under the contract, McGregor was to pay a certain amount to the council, and the council was then to advertise McGregor's business. After the contract had been concluded, McGregor had a change of mind, and he went to the council and told them that he did not wish to continue with this contract. The council reminded him that because there was a legally binding agreement, it was his obligation to continue, and so therefore they said that they would still go ahead and advertise his business, and they would then expect him to pay the council for those services. McGregor told them that he just did not wish to continue and that he would not make the payment. The council continued with the contract. They did advertise, so they painted all of those trash cans that they were supposed to paint, and McGregor's advertisement was out there for everybody to see. And then they sent a bill to McGregor for the contractual amount. McGregor, of course, refused to pay. The matter went to the court. McGregor's point was that he had already communicated to the council that he would not pay. And so therefore his contention was that the council should not have gone ahead with the contract. They should have stopped. The council's contention was that they went ahead with the contract because they were entitled to. What McGregor had done was simply anticipatory breach. And whether or not to continue with the contract was then a decision for the council to take. And they took that decision and they ignored what McGregor said, as they were entitled to. And they painted the trash cans with the advertisement. And so therefore McGregor, according to the council, was liable to make the payment. The court agreed. The court said, when McGregor went to the council and communicated that he would not make the payment, he was making anticipatory breach, which allowed the council to make a decision on whether or not to terminate the contract immediately or to ignore what McGregor was saying and continue the contract. And since they had elected the latter option, they were entitled to do so, and McGregor was bound to make the payment. So notice that in this case, the council decided to continue with the contract. It is possible that in some other cases, immediate termination would be more suitable. So for example, in the Heron 2, that's another case that was decided in England, a ship was to be taken on charter, it was to be taken on rent. The day that was decided for the rent to start was written in the agreement. The parties had agreed on a certain date, that from that date onwards, the ship would be on rent with one of the parties. Before that date came, the owner of the vessel communicated to the proposed charterer that despite our contract, sorry, I would not be able to take the ship on rent from you. So the charterer, the charterer communicated to the owner that he would not be taking the ship on rent. Because the date for the charter had not arrived yet, this was a case of anticipatory breach. Even before the time for performance, the proposed charterer was communicating his intent of not performing under the contract. This allowed the owner the choice whether to immediately terminate the contract or to continue, assuming that the contract is continuing until the day of the performance. This was the choice that the owner had. In this case, the owner chose to terminate the contract immediately. So as soon as he heard from the charterer that the charterer would not be chartering the vessel on the specified date, the owner took the opportunity and immediately terminated the contract. The reason was that the owner had realized that the ship was actually in repairs. It had gone for these repairs, and the owner knew that even if the proposed charterer had not repudiated his contract, had not communicated anticipatory breach, the ship in fact would not have been ready for the charter. So the anticipatory breach by the charterer was a God-sent opportunity for the owner, who otherwise would have been in breach of contract because his ship would not have been seaworthy on the date of the contract. Therefore, as soon as he heard the anticipatory breach, he decided to avail the option of immediate termination. He immediately terminated, and so therefore the whole issue of whether or not the ship would have been seaworthy or not never arose. So depending on the circumstances, you may decide to continue with the contract, or you may decide to terminate the contract if anticipatory breach happens. Okay, both rights are open to you, are available to you. Right. This is what we needed to know in terms of breach of contract, whether it is an actual breach or an anticipatory breach. In the lectures that follow, we will look at the remedies. We'll see what happens when a breach does happen and what kind of remedies are available and what are the rules relating to those remedies.